The 7-Eleven stood at the corner of Maple and Elm, a beacon of convenience in a small town that had grown used to its presence. It was open 24/7, a constant in the lives of the townspeople. Yet, tonight, something felt off. The air was thick with a sense of impending dread, and the fluorescent lights flickered intermittently, casting eerie shadows on the shelves. Lisa had just started her night shift at the 7-Eleven. It was her first week, and she was still getting used to the solitude and the odd characters that drifted in during the early hours. She had taken the job to save up for college, and the quiet hours seemed perfect for catching up on her studies. Her coworker Tom, an older man with a gruff exterior, was in the back room stocking the cooler. The store was empty, except for a lone customer browsing the snack aisle. Lisa glanced at the clock. It was 1:13 a.m. The door chimed, and a tall, gaunt man entered. He wore a long black coat and a wide-brimmed hat that obscured his face. His presence sent a shiver down Lisa's spine. He moved slowly, deliberately, his footsteps echoing in the quiet store. He approached the counter, and Lisa forced a smile. "Good evening. How can I help you?" she asked. The man didn't respond. He simply stared at her with piercing blue eyes, his gaze unsettling. After what felt like an eternity, he placed a single item on the counter, a small, ornate box. "This," he said in a low, gravelly voice. "Hold on to it. Do not open it." Lisa blinked, confused. "I'm sorry, sir. We can't hold items for customers." The man's eyes narrowed. "You must, for your own sake." Before Lisa could protest further, he turned and walked out of the store, leaving the box on the counter. Lisa stared at it, her curiosity battling with her sense of caution. She picked it up, examining its intricate carvings and the strange symbols that adorned it. Tom emerged from the back room, wiping his hands on a rag. "Who was that?" he asked, nodding toward the door. "I don't know," Lisa replied. "He left this." Tom frowned. "Weird. Just put it in the lost and found." Lisa hesitated, but eventually placed the box in the drawer beneath the counter. As she did, she noticed a sudden drop in temperature. The air grew cold, and her breath formed visible puffs. The lights flickered again, and the store's radio crackled with static. "Did you feel that?" she asked Tom. He shrugged. "Old building. Probably just the AC acting up." Lisa wasn't convinced, but she nodded, trying to shake off the unease that had settled over her. The rest of the night was uneventful, but Lisa couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. As her shift ended, she grabbed her coat and headed for the door. Tom was locking up behind her when she heard a voice whisper her name. "Lisa!" She spun around, but no one was there. Tom gave her a concerned look. "You okay?" "Yeah," she lied. "Just tired." As she walked home, the whispering continued, growing louder with each step. By the time she reached her apartment, it felt as if the voices were inside her head, echoing her name over and over. That night, Lisa had a nightmare. She was back in the 7-Eleven, alone. The store was dark, the shelves empty. She walked through the aisles, her footsteps echoing. As she reached the counter, she saw the box. It was open, and a dark, swirling mist poured out, filling the room. The mist formed shapes, twisted, nightmarish figures that reached out for her. She tried to scream, but no sound came. The figures closed in, their cold hands gripping her, pulling her into the darkness. Lisa woke with a start, drenched in sweat. Her heart raced, and she struggled to catch her breath. She glanced at the clock, 3:33 a.m. The nightmare felt so real, as if it were a warning. The next day, Lisa returned to the 7-Eleven, determined to find answers. She couldn't shake the feeling that the box was connected to her nightmare. She approached Tom, who was sipping coffee and reading a newspaper. "Tom, do you know anything about that box?" she asked. He looked up, frowning. "What box?" "The one that man left last night." Tom shook his head. "No idea. Why?" I had a nightmare about it, Lisa admitted. It felt real. Tom sighed. Listen, Lisa, this job can mess with your head. The late hours, the weird customers, don't let it get to you. But Lisa couldn't let it go. She decided to do some research on the symbols she had seen on the box. She spent hours online, searching for any clues. Eventually, she stumbled upon an old forum discussing occult artifacts. One post caught her eye. It described a box similar to the one in the store, claiming it was a vessel for trapping malevolent spirits. Lisa's heart pounded as she read the post. According to the forum, the box was used by an ancient cult to imprison dark entities. If opened, it could release them into the world. Lisa's nightmare flashed in her mind. The swirling mist, the twisted figures. It all made sense now. She hurried back to the 7-Eleven, her mind racing. She had to destroy the box before it could do any more harm. As she entered the store, the temperature dropped again. The lights flickered, and the radio crackled with static. Tom was at the counter looking uneasy. "What's going on?" he asked as Lisa approached. "We need to destroy the box," she said urgently. "It's dangerous." Tom looked skeptical. "Lisa, it's just a box." "No, it's not," she insisted. "I found information about it. It's used to trap spirits. If we don't destroy it, we're in danger." Tom sighed. "Fine. Where is it?" Lisa reached under the counter, but the drawer was empty. Panic surged through her. "It's gone!" At that moment, the store's door chimed. The tall man in the black coat had returned. His eyes were cold, and a sinister smile played on his lips. "Looking for this?" he asked, holding up the box. Lisa's blood ran cold. "What do you want?" The man chuckled. "You were warned not to open it. Now you must pay the price." Before Lisa could react, he opened the box. A dark mist erupted from it, filling the store. The lights went out, plunging them into darkness. The air grew thick with the stench of decay, and the whispering voices returned, louder and more insistent. Tom grabbed Lisa's hand. "We need to get out of here." They ran toward the back door, but the mist seemed to follow them, closing in. The voices grew louder, screaming her name. Lisa's vision blurred, and she felt a cold hand grip her shoulder. In a desperate bid to escape, Lisa grabbed a lighter from her pocket and flicked it on. She held it up to the mist, hoping to drive it back. The flames seemed to have an effect, and the mist recoiled, but it wasn't enough. "We need fire," she gasped. "More fire." Tom nodded, grabbing a bottle of lighter fluid from a shelf. He doused the mist in it, and Lisa tossed the lighter. The mist erupted in flames, and the store was engulfed in a fiery inferno. The dark figures screamed in agony, their forms disintegrating in the heat. The tall man watched, his expression unreadable. As the flames consumed the store, he turned and walked out, disappearing into the night. Lisa and Tom managed to escape the burning building, coughing and gasping for air. They watched as the 7-Eleven was reduced to ashes, the flames lighting up the night sky. "Do you think it's over?" Tom asked, his voice hoarse. Lisa shook her head. "I don't know, but we did what we had to do." The fire department arrived, and the flames were eventually extinguished. The 7-Eleven was gone, but Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that the nightmare was far from over. The box might be destroyed, but the darkness it contained still lingered, a silent threat waiting for its next opportunity. And so, the small town was left with an empty lot where the 7-Eleven once stood, a place of horror and mystery. The townspeople whispered about the fire and the strange occurrences leading up to it, but no one could explain what really happened that night. Lisa and Tom moved on, their lives forever changed by the events at the 7-Eleven. But in the back of their minds, they knew that some doors, once opened, could never be fully closed.